I run a rundown guest house. Honestly, it's tough going, but there's a reason I desperately want to protect this place. Just when I was considering stepping back from the business, an old woman with a troubled past and not a penny to her showed up. "You've always been a bother." I felt a warmth in her as she was my own grandmother who was harshly treated by her son. And it was this old woman's words that sparked the guest house an incredible transformation. "My name is Tom. Well, there will be no guests today. The guest house I run looks just like rundown. Who will want to stay in a guest house like that?" Even I, the manager, think so. But this place is precious to me and is something I inherited from my mentor. The reason I'm trying to keep the guest house running is because I want to protect this place. My mentor was the coach of the soccer club I belonged to in high school. When I was a child, I lived with my grandmother and my mother. My mother was always busy with work, so my grandmother was always there for me. Thanks to my grandmother's warmth, I never felt lonely in my daily life. But my grandmother fell ill and passed away when I was in the 3rd grade of elementary school. Even though my mother worked as the head of the family and had little time to spend at home, I had learned all the household chores from my grandmother, so I had no trouble living. But when I was a first-year high school student, my mother suddenly died of a stroke, perhaps due to overwork, and that's when the coach took me in, who had no relatives. The coach let me live in a room of the guest house his father used to run. And after I graduated from high school, I left the guest house to work out of the city. I reunited with the coach at the soccer club reunion, which was held for the first time in 10 years. He told me that he was considering ending the management of the guest house he had taken over after I left. But I really wanted to keep the guest house where I was accepted when I was alone. So I strongly asked the coach to transfer the guest house to me. One evening in autumn, in a comfortable autumn breeze, I met an old lady named Kate. "Excuse me." The voice came as I was cleaning the entrance, as usual, with the setting sun lighting up the empty guest house. There stood a petite old woman who seemed to be around 70 years old. "Can I help you?" The old woman was neat and had good posture, and a small shoulder bag in her hand. She was lightly dressed as if she had come shopping. Surely she's not a guest. "Excuse me, could I stay here tonight? I forgot my wallet, but I promised to pay later." "Stay the night? Sure, that's fine." The old woman's face, previously anxious, transformed into one of relief. "My name is Kate. I was really in trouble, so you've helped me a lot. Thank you." Seeing the old woman saying this, I was reminded of my own grandmother. Her slow, reassuming tone of voice seeped into my body, although her appearance was different. Somehow, it feels nostalgic. Hastily tidying up the room, I led Kate to her room. "You have very few belongings." When I said this, Kate, looking a little sad, averted her eyes from me. The fewer belongings, the better. It seemed like there was a story there, but I had to maintain a certain distance with guests, so I didn't ask any farther. Although she refused to have a meal, I was worried about Kate, so I decided to have dinner with her. I hadn't planned to have any guests today, so I didn't have any special food for dinner and could only make simple dishes. "Despite your young age, your dishes taste very gentle," Kate said, eating my cooking with a happy expression. She listened to my insignificant stories with a smile, but she never talked about herself. My upbringing, my mentor, the coach, and the guest house. By the way, what is the concept of this guest house? The concept? What was the purpose of me taking over this guest house? Yes, I wanted everyone to know about this place, this precious guest house that had given me a place to be. I wanted the guests who stayed here to experience the warmth of this guest house that I felt while spending my ordinary days. Thanks to Kate's words, I was able to remember the ideal guest house I had envisioned at the time. The concept of this guest house is a space where you can feel warmth through ordinary hospitality. That sounds lovely. Nodding her head greatly, she said that to me. And then came the morning of the next day. I'm sorry I couldn't do much for you. Thanks to talking with you, Kate, I had a lot to learn. So I won't charge you. Thank you. I conveyed that. She, though surprised, thanked me over and over again and then left. But the management of the guest house became increasingly difficult, and there were no more guests. And it was no wonder. Recently, beautiful hotels and guest houses have been popping up around this area. Such a rundown guest house like this, no one would care for it. With that in mind, I finally gave up managing the guest house and started job hunting. Didn't feel too great about today's interview either. 2 months had passed since I started job hunting, but no matter how many interviews I went through, no company would hire me. On the way back from an interview, as I sat on the park bench drinking hot coffee in the chilly air, someone sat down on the bench next to me. Could it be Kate? The person reacted to my voice and turned toward me. I knew it! It's me, Tom, the owner of the guest house you stayed at. Oh, Tom! I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. You seemed so different from before. I didn't realize. Because of the job interview, I was wearing a suit and had my hair styled. I looked totally different from when I was at the guest house, so it's understandable that she wouldn't recognize me. When I glanced over, I noticed a large traveler bag next to Kate. Are you traveling today? This? She shook her head and patted the traveler bag. If it was something fun like a trip, that would be great. But actually, I needed to find a place to stay for a while. She said that and sighed, looking sadly into the distance. There must be some reason. If that's the case, please use my guest house for a while. When I said that, she looked at me with wide eyes. Really? Thank you. Saying that, she bowed her head in what seemed like apology. And 2 weeks passed since Kate came to the guest house. She, in a small gesture of thanks, cleaned the entire guest house. What if we moved this shelf over there? Thanks to her giving out ideas one after another, the guest house turned into a neatly organized space, unrecognizable from before. One day, a luxury car stopped in front of the guest house. Out of the car came a man in his 40s wearing a suit and a woman wearing fashionable clothes and a decidedly high-end looking rig. There's an old woman named Kate living here, right? Well, skeptically looking up at the rundown guest house from the entrance, the man brusquely said so. Who could these people be? However, at this time, Kate was out shopping and wasn't around. Excuse me, but how are you related to Kate? I'm her son and this here is my wife. I see. Looking closely, it's true that features like the nose and mouth do remind me of Kate. However, her son looked totally opposed to the gentle Kate. Hey, we'll pay you if you could keep taking care of my mom here. She's always been a nuisance. What is he suddenly talking about? She is fit and firm, not needing any particular care. Why does your son find her so displeasingly to this extent? At that moment, the man's wife interjected. Kate is just a nominal president. To be honest, we want her to step down soon. After all, she pushes the office work onto us. Then she goes on carefree trips and frolics around. Her unsmiling eyes looked at me from behind her sunglasses. It's your own family. How could you say such horrible things? That's why I'm asking you. Take care of it. Her son cut off my words in the middle. got into his car and left as if nothing happened. What a terrible son and his wife. Anger was boiling up inside me. I'm home. Then Kate came home. Kate, your son and his wife were just here. Not knowing how much of the truth to tell, my eyes were swimming. Seeing my state, Kate seemed to understand the situation and began to speak. Believe it or not, I'm the president of the company with several branches. She is apparently the president of the global company with branches not only in Japan but also overseas. She has grown significantly in the last 30 years, but it was originally from a small company founded by Kate's father, which she took over. It must have been due to her intelligence, initiative, and a good character. But recently, my son keeps telling me to step down soon and hand over the company. As she said this, her expression suddenly became sad. Her son and his wife were at first kind to Kate and worked hard as members of the company. But as the company grew, their attitude changed, and the son, who only cared about money, began to threaten to kick her out if she did not vacate the president's seat. In fact, I've been kicked out twice, and both times, you helped me, Tom. As she said this, she smiled sadly. On the other hand, I could only feel anger at the son and his wife who did not care about their family. Kate, you can stay here as long as you want. Thank you so much. If only my son was a kind-hearted person like you. As she said this, Kate's eyes were moist. One day, a foreigner visited the guest house. Excuse me. I, who cannot speak French, was flustered when I heard the broken English. Welcome! I'm glad you came. Hello, Kate. Long time no see. I was taken aback and watched the interaction. This foreigner seems to be a friend of Kate. I have friends all over the world. I used to travel abroad a lot for work. She said it so casually. Kate really was a president. Then Kate, seeing me flustered in front of the foreigner, asked me, Tom, what was your reason for starting this guest house? I wanted to provide experiences that warm the heart through everyday hospitality at this place. Right. Then you need to be confident, no matter who the guest is. This is America, so even guests don't expect you to speak French. Then Kate advised me that foreigners who choose guest houses over hotels won't feel closer to American life, so I should do my best to provide hospitality in the way I think is best. Encouraged by Kate, I tried my best to provide the guest house experience I had imagined. What kind of hospitality would please foreigners? I want them to experience American culture as much as possible. I was excited to have a guest after a long time. That night, we three enjoyed barbecue together, had a laugh, and played a game of American card game. Above all, I think I was very lively myself, and the guest was genuinely happy to be exposed to American culture. The next morning, as I took the guest to the nearby station, he said at parting, I had so much fun. Thank you, Tom. Thanks to his words, I was able to gain a little confidence in my way. Thank you, too. I appreciate such a memorable time we spent together. And so we parted, promising to meet again. Things will surely get busy from here. Just as Kate said, inquiries about our accommodation started to increase gradually. Apparently, the reason was that the guest from the other day had posted about our guest house on social media. I decided to take a look at the post. There was a picture of the three of us playing an American card game with the caption, Wonderful Hospitality. The expressions of the three of us in the picture seemed to be sparkling with joy. Most of the guests who came after that were friends of Kate. She is well known both domestically and internationally. Many guests visited our guest house with the purpose of meeting her, and I admire the depth of her popularity. Gradually, the operation of the guest house stabilized, and I was able to commit to continuing the business and abandon my job hunting. One day, a familiar luxury car stopped at the entrance of our guest house. It was Kate's son and daughter-in-law. I couldn't stand the way they treated Kate so rudely. "Go to the back room, Kate." I led Kate to the back room so she wouldn't have to hear the harsh words from her son. I would like to send them away immediately if possible. But as soon as they walked in, they said this: "Isn't it time to return our president to us?" The couple's attitude was as if their rudeness last time was a lie. From their conversation, it seemed that the company's management had drastically declined in Kate's absence. I was not competent enough as a president yet. The son seems to be reflecting on his actions. Kate is the one who significantly grew the company. Naturally, she must have strong feelings for it. But for me, I want Kate to stay here forever, because thanks to her, the business of my guest house started to take off. No, to tell the truth, I didn't care about the guest house business at all. Since the first time I met Kate, I've been saved many times by her warmth. Reminiscent of a grandmother. Living with her felt like living with my grandmother in the past, and my heart was fulfilled. If possible, I'd love to continue living together as a family. As I was lost in such thoughts, I heard Kate's voice. "I won't accept the request of people who neglect their parents because of money. What are they thinking coming here now?" Kate scolding her son and daughter-in-law. She emphasizes the importance of valuing relationship with people and treating each individual with respect and consideration as essential for success in the company. Her son and daughter-in-law left, their heads hanging low. When her son and daughter-in-law left, Kate returned to her usual gentle smile and said, "You'll just be fine. After all, you have such a wonderful heart." I gained courage from her weighty words. With renewed confidence, I expanded the guest house business to various locations with her. Of course, the concept of a space filled with warm feelings through everyday hospitality remained the same. Actually, the expansion of the business to various locations was also the dream of my mentor. My mentor has passed away, but I was determined to make his dream come true. I worked hard, holding in my heart the lessons I learned from Kate. Kate passed away around the time we found the fifth prospective location. On our website, where Kate's regularly updated blog was posted during her lifetime, tribute messages are being sent from her friends around the world. She was indeed an incredible person. I have been relying on Kate the entire time. Kate, who supported me so much, was she truly happy living with me all the time? Now, feelings of regret are welling up in me. "Tom, long time no see." Turning around, I saw the man who had first posted about our guest house on social media. "We made a promise, remember? To meet again." "Thank you. I'm glad you came." And so, we shook hands firmly. I recall the picture of us playing cards together. The three of us who played cards together were definitely smiling with uninhibited, bursting smiles. I'm certain that Kate must have cherished the days she spent with me. Thinking that, I returned to my usual work. "Hey Kate, the other day, your friends from France came to visit." Today is August 3rd. It's Kate's death anniversary. On this day every year, I make sure to visit her grave and report the recent news. Her friends from around the world continue to patronize our guest house even after her passing. By the way, a guest asked me the other day if I was Kate's son. For me, it was an honor to be mistaken as her son. So, I replied that we weren't related by blood, but we were just like a mother and son. They told me that because we were so alike, we must be family. In the hearts of friends around the world, Kate continues to live. And of course, in my heart as well. I'll strive to become more like you. So please continue to watch over me. Like the dazzling summer sunlight, my future is filled with brightness.